Well, it's been a couple weeks since y'all have seen me. For those who don't know, I got the old COVID. Yes, sir. That's pretty rough. I'll tell you all about it here in just a minute. Yes, I got the old COVID. Well, actually, 2 weeks tonight is when it hit me. Let me tell you, I've had the flu a few times in my life. That's walking in the park compared to this COVID. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. No, sir. I didn't know a feller could be that cold and still be alive. No, sir. The first 3 days, that's all I did was lay in the bed and shake and shiver. Tylenol, ibuprofen, nothing would touch it. Matter of fact, I would take a shower every few hours, just trying to warm up. That's how cold it was yesterday. I'd run the hot water completely out 2 or 3 times a day. My water bill, light bill, gonna be through the roof. Anyway, that was not fun. I am better. Yesterday was the first day that I got up and did some stuff. I worked around the house here 5 or 6 hours. Let me tell you, it wore me out. Today ain't a whole lot better. Matter of fact, I think yesterday, well, it took quite a bit. I am operating at about 68 percentile right now. Yeah, I don't have a lot of energy. This video is probably going to be kind of short because of that, and I ain't got but 2 or 3 days to get it done. But we're going to do something, yes, sir. Matter of fact, I think we're going to work on the old 40, yes, sir. Let me show you what we're going to do. We left off with steering. I do believe I didn't quite get done with it. I think what I was going to do is this cup link right here from this shaft down to this one. This end of it is round instead of the double D. Well, let me just show you for those who don't know. That's a double D right there. It's flat on 2 sides. And there's the coupling I'm going to use. The one that's on there is round on one end. So if these set screws come loose, well, I ain't going to be able to steer the car. And I don't want to pin it. I don't want to weld it. I just don't want to do that. So we're going to pull that steering shaft out, and I'm going to put a flat on either side so we can use this double D coupling right here. And then if the set screws come loose, I'll still be able to steer the car. Yeah. Also, way down yonder is the rack and pinion. We got to make us a bracket for our tie rod ends to attach to. That's what this piece right here is going to be for. Tie rod ends, drill hole, a tapered hole. They go like that. We got to put 2 holes out here to attach it to the rack. Also know, by the way, I think I was going to use 96 Trans Am tie rod ends. Well, one of the tapers was wrong or something. I can't remember what it was. Yeah, that's what it was. The taper on the outer tie rod end was wrong. I had to send them back. We're going with the original plan of S10 tie rod ends. That's what we're using there. Anyways, let me pull this steering shaft out. And if y'all have noticed, I'm kind of out of breath. The COVID, it didn't really affect my head or my lungs, but last couple of days, I don't know if I'm getting a cold. It ain't no telling. But anyway, I'm kind of out of breath. Anyway, I'm going to pull this shaft out of the steering column. We'll go to Mama's, throw it on the mill, make 2 flats, and we'll come back and put that together. Then we'll start on the other. Got it set up on the mill, finally. It took forever. I got to take 100 thousandths off each side. The round part is 750. The flats, that's 550. That leaves 200 thousandths, so that'll be 100 thousandths per side. Let me get y'all set up. We'll go to cutting this first side right here. All right, first pass. I'm taking about 30 thousandths off. And going to my mark right there. All right, let me see what kind of measurements we got right there. Turn that son of a gun off so it doesn't kill me. All right, we got, I believe that's going to be 700 thousandths. Yep. was supposed to have been 30 thousandths, but it took 50. So I'll have to keep that in mind. I'm gonna take another, let's take 25, see what that does. Alright, let's check it again, see what we got. That's approximately 75. Yeah, we gotta go 25 more per thousandths. Alright, let me measure that and see what we got. We are a little bit under, but I ain't too worried about it. About 5 thousandths under. That'll be good. Now the trick is to get this flat exactly 180 degrees and do the other side. I ain't figured out exactly how I'm gonna do that just yet. When I do, I'll be back. Well, I do believe I got it figured out. What I'm having to do, you know, I cut a flat spot, and then it's got to rotate 180 degrees perfectly so you can get that other flat spot where my coupler, you know, will slide up on there. Well, this is what I did. These things right here, I don't know what they are. We've had them for years. We use them as parallels all the time. Then here's a 1, 2, 3 block that Greg Miller made a few years ago, back where I used to work. Matter of fact, it's stamped 2007. But it's just a 1, 2, 3 block. He made me 3 or 4 of them. They've come in quite handy. Anyway, what I did is I set this stuff up here, and then I rotated this shaft to where that flat spot that we just cut is resting on top of that. That way, I know that it's 180 out, you know. It's parallel with this table and the cutter, what I'm trying to tell you. And anyway, I clamped her down with this, made sure it's good and flat. Then I run the jaws closed on this, what do you call it, vise right here. Then I clamped the vise to the table. Fixing to release this clamp here. Hopefully it ain't gonna move, everything will be parallel, and my coupling's gonna fit. Let's do that and just see what happens. Where's my wrench? I gotta have my wrench, man. Alright, I'm gonna release this here clamp. Y'all tell me if this shaft moves any. Sure hope it don't. I do believe we're okay. Let me get this 1, 2, 3 block, and here's them parallels. I don't know what they fit, but we've been using it for parallels for years. Worked pretty good. Alright, what I gotta do now is run this back over here. This cutter, gotta run it up. And then we gotta bring the cutter down and touch off on the end of this here piece right here. Let's run back this way some. Run this down. And it barely touches right there. Alright, I'm fixing to take 25 thousandths off on this first pass. I should have had it chucked up a little closer in the vise here, but we ain't working on no space shuttle stuff, so I think we'll probably be alright. Alright, let me check that and see what we got. We got about 60 thousandths more to go. Let me cut some more. What do we have now? Got about 20 thousandths more to go. Let me make one more pass. Alright, let's get our coupling out and see if it fits. Not quite. We ain't there yet. Let me measure and see what we gotta have. Well, we're about 5 over. Let me make one more pass. All right, let's see what that did. Doth it fit? No, it doth not. I don't know what is going on. Those my calipers are off. Interesting. We weren't perfectly flat. This side is a little bit thicker, about 10 thousandths thicker than this side. That's why it won't go. So I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna hit this with a file, try to knock some off of this side and see what that does. Maybe that'll fix it. I'll be back in a minute. We're real close. Real close. It's starting to fit right there. All right. Do we have it? Yes, sir. We're right at the end here, and that's where it needs to be, so I'm gonna call that good. Let's go back and put this on. Well, I just test fit it, and it did pretty good. I got it right up here. If you remember, we got to drill holes for the set screws to, set down there a little bit. You can see the mark right there. I got to punch it, drill it, do the same on the other side, and we'll put it back in. That's probably good enough. Now let me rotate it. Let's do the other one. All right, let's put it back on. With RTs right there, there's the shaft that we just got done doubled in. This collar right here, I don't have it tightened up yet, but, well, the purpose of it is to keep me from pulling that shaft out of the steering column, out of this. In case this ever come loose, you tighten that down and it keeps it from slipping out. I think when it's all said and done, the final assembly, I may tack this collar to that shaft, just, extra insurance. We now have a full steering, whatever this is called, shaft assembly. But I forgot something. Let me show you. I completely forgot about a mount for the steering column. She's just a flopping. Yes, sir. I'll have to come up with something for that. It won't be tonight, though. But yes, sir, we are now done with the steering shaft. Next on the agenda is this bracket out here to hook our tie rod ends. I think I'm done for the night. I'm telling you, I ain't got no energy. I spent 3 or 4 hours today running around town, and then this right here, what little bit we did, it's wore me down. Yes, sir. So I think I'm gonna do a little bit of thinking and figuring. You can't video thinking. So unless I actually do something, well, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Well, it's the next day. Actually, it's several days later. I decided to take a few days off, and we went to the mountains with some family, celebrated Thanksgiving down there. That was a much needed break, let me tell you. I had a lot of fun. But we're back now on the 40. As you can see, it's dark outside. Yes, sir. I've spent just about all day running around town. I got to get me a full-time handy-dandy assistant that works for free. I don't think I'm going to find it, but I sure would like to have one. Anyway, like I said, it's nighttime. I'm going to do just a little bit of work just to get started on this, get my brain wrapped around it. So let me just show y'all what we're doing. Let me get down in here where you can see it. See the rack right there. I got a bolt stuck in it right here. As you can see, it took me a little bit to figure out what thread size that was. It is an M12 by 1.25, by the way, is what it is. What I gotta do, let me show you my piece of metal up here. Well, let me go back over here and show you something first. If I just put a flat piece of metal here, right here, well, it's gonna rub this. It's gonna hit part of the frame on that rack and pinion. So I got a spacer out. So what I got to do is, this is the bar that's going to be attached to that rack and pinion. I'm gonna cut me a 3.5 inch piece off of it, double stack it as a spacer, and that'll give me plenty of room where I ain't hitting nothing on this rack and pinion. Now, if y'all remember, on tie rod ends, bump steer and all that, you want your tie rod end to pivot same place that your A-arm does. Well, that's what that is right there. That's the end of the A-arm where it pivots. So here is where the tie rod end is going to go. Same thing on the other side. I done measured you know, from outside of this to the outside of that. 16 inches is what I need for this. I already got it marked. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut that off. Cut that 3.5 inch spacer off. Center it here, tack it on. And then we got to do some measuring for bolt holes and such. So let me get this cut off real quick. This is 3/4 thick by 1.25 inches wide, by the way, if anybody wants to know. Well, I got both pieces cut up. There's a 3.5 inch piece stacked on top of the 16 inch piece. It's 6.25 right here on either side. I'm gonna run a bead down either side and put a little bit on top and bottom. Then we'll go to figuring for our holes to mount it to the rack over yonder. All right, I got them tacked together. The only reason I welded these to each other is, you know, I got to drill 2 holes through it. And if they're welded, it's not going to shift. You know, if you got them clamped, they move a little bit. I don't want that. So I decided to weld them. That's the only reason why. Now, we got to figure out, you know, center of our bolt holes down there. I got both bolts in the hole. What I did, I took my caliper and measured the outside of the bolts. Well, you want center to center, so you just take off half of the diameter of each bolt, or 1 full diameter total. I got 2 and 4/25 on the outside, so I got to measure my bolt, see what diameter it is, subtract it from this number here. That'll be my bolt hole center. Then I got to do some math, you know, and figure out where to mark it on here. Then we'll drill these holes out. I got my measurements all figured out, and I got it marked, so if I can see to line that up, I'm going to give her a punch. No, sir, I'm off a little bit. I got to get a light above this table. I can't see nothing. Yes, sir, that's it right there. Let me mark the other one. I got to measure 1 inch and 9/65. Center of that one to the center of here. Now let me punch that real quick, like approximately right there. Yes, sir, I think. Well, let me scoot her over a little bit. I think that'll work right there. All right. I need to drill 2 holes. Let's do that. Let us drill some holes. It's going to take a minute right here. It's a pretty thick piece of metal. Well, both bolts will not start at the same time. So I'm going up to the next size drill bit on 1 hole. If that don't fix it, well, I'll do the other hole. And if that don't fix it, well, I'll have to go up another size. All right, let's go try that. Alrighty. I ended up having to drill the other one too because it still wouldn't start. But they appear to be tightened up now. So, now what I got to do is drill these holes for the tie rod end to go through there. Already got them punched. See that one there, see that one there. I'm gonna go with probably a 3/8 hole. And then I got a tapered reamer around here somewhere we got to use. Probably do that tomorrow. I'm gonna go to Mama's and do that in the milling machine. But for now, let me drill these 2 3/8 holes. Got these 2 holes drilled. I went 3/8. This, well, the thread part anyway, is 7/16. May take that out to 7/16 tomorrow and then hit it with my taper reamer right here. This little fella was not cheap, by the way. Anyway, we're going to call it a night. I know I didn't work very long, 2 or 3 hours. But I don't think tomorrow that I have any running around to do around town. So maybe we can spend quite a bit more time working on this old hunk of junk right here. Once we get steering done, I'm going to pull that motor out. And we got to go working on that firewall. Plugging all them holes up. Hopefully we can get to that tomorrow. See y'all later. Well, it is the next day again. You can see we're outside the shop. It's pretty chilly. It's like 35 degrees out here. Shop is a mess too. Got metal laying everywhere. I gotta hurry up and get that done and get this cleaned up. But we got stuff to do before we can work on the 40. Remember me telling y'all, there's always something to do before you can do something. That's true just about every day. If you remember, we drove this old Ford home, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks ago. If you also remember, I had trouble keeping water in it, kept shooting it out. Well, I ran out of antifreeze, so I started putting straight water in it. Well, that's what's in it now pretty much. And the level is so low in the radiator that I can't get my checker down in there to check it. So what I'm gonna do to keep from freezing this motor, because it's supposed to get down to like 23 tonight. It probably won't hurt it, you know, just for one night, but I don't want to take any chances. What I'm gonna do, pull the thermostat housing off, get the thermostat out, put that back together and fire it up, and put some antifreeze in it. The reason I'm pulling the thermostat out is so we don't have to sit here and wait on it to warm up. It's cold out here. I don't want to be out here no longer than I have to. Anyway, let me get that off, and we'll go to put some antifreeze in it. Hopefully the thing will start up. All right, let's hurry up because it's cold out here. Very, very cold out here. I don't like being cold. Well, that's a 1/2 inch, not a 9/16. I'll be right back. Lord of mercy, it's so cold out here. I'm sort of anxious to pull this motor out of this old truck and rebuild it and build it a little bit. You know, usually do Chevrolets. I'm kind of anxious to do this old Ford. We'll get it, I don't know, maybe this spring sometime. We'll just have to see. Alright, there ain't no water in the top of it. Well, let me get that thermostat out of the way. Oh yeah. Put her back together. Let me put a little bit of RT&V on that. Yeah, I'll be right back. It's so darn cold. That won't even hardly come out of the tube. You got the other bolt in there. There's one. All right. Let me get my tools out of the way and then I'll go get the antifreeze. We'll start filling it up. Now don't be making fun because I got the pre-diluted 50-50 mix. SuperTech Walmart brand is the only antifreeze I buy normally, unless I have to buy something else. Well, they were out of the concentrated, so I had to buy this. It's $7 a gallon, something like that. Hiya! Anyway, it'll be just fine and dandly, but I do not normally buy the 50-50 mix. Well, there's 1 gallon. All right. I'm gonna fire it up, hopefully. Let it run for just a couple minutes, get that circulated. We hook the battery up. I gotta hook the gasoline can up. Are we rolling? We are rolling. All right, got the battery hooked up, got the gasoline tank hooked up. Let's fill this here carburetor up with some gasolines. Hopefully she'll fire right up. Little bit to grow on, buddy. Fire in the hole. Come on. We got plenty of flow. Let me run it just a little bit longer. Well, why don't stay running? Yeah, sir, we got a lot of flow now. I believe that thermostat may have been stuck on the way home because we didn't have nowhere near that kind of flow. I do believe we got her mixed up. I'm gonna run it a little bit longer. I'm gonna call it good. We're gonna get back in the shop where it's warm. Let me get my checker and check it. See what we got. It's showing 3 balls floating, and that is going to be -10. That's more than enough for around here. I'm gonna call it good. Let's get back in the garage where it's warm. Lord have mercy, it is hotter than the Hades in here. They've been running about 30 minutes. Whew. Got one more thing to do before we work on the old Forte. Get the steering done. Where did it go? Right here. Vevor.com. They sent me a hose, air hose reel. We're gonna mount it on that pole. Let me get it out of the box and I'll show y'all. They sent me this probably a month or so ago. I was supposed to install it, you know, have it on the video, the first week of November, but as you may know, I got the COVID and, well, that slowed me down where I couldn't do nothing. Anyway, let's get this out. Oh, it comes with a hose too. I did not know that. Interesting. Ta-da! Let's get this unwrapped. Cool, I won't even have to put a hose on it. I thought I was going to put a hose on it. Alright. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. That bolts right there. This bolts to whatever you want it on. Pretty much it. I gotta find the bolts. I think that's these short ones right here. Yeah. Let me get them out. Yeah, you got 2 bolts that bolt this on and let it swivel. We got the little spacers in there. We'll put that on after we mount this to the pole over there. So I got to find some lag screws. I got some somewhere. Let me go see if I can find them. All right, I found me some lagging bolts. I had to take my fire extinguisher down. I'll probably put it up here somewhere because I want this about where it was. So let me get this here lag bolt started. Now, let me go get the reel and we'll mount it. I decided to take the bracket off the pole. It's got, you know, like a, I guess you call it a keyed hole. Big hole for your bolt head to go through, and then a slot for it to slip over. And these little bolts here, it'd be hard to get them all situated trying to hold this up. So I decided to take a bracket off the pole and put it on over here where it's a lot easier. Just like it right there. Where's my nut? All right, let me do the same thing on this other side over here, and then we'll put it on the pole. All right, let's go put it on the pole. Oh, the doodah day. Let me get this here tightened up real quick, like. Ooh. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right. Now I got to hook this into here, and I got to hook this end to the tank over here. I got to rig up some fittings, so let me find all them. I'll be right back. All right, got that on. This will run to my tank just like this right here. Let's go ahead and plug it in. Hey! I probably need to put a chuck on the end of that. Yes, sir. Let me do that real quick, like. All right, let me plug her in again and see what happens. Ta-da! With Artis, it looks like it's gonna be pretty sturdy. The only thing I got to change is it wants to go that way because my bracket ain't level. So I'm gonna tweak her just a little bit, tighten it back up, keep it from constantly wanting to go that way because that gets on my nerves. It does hold a 50-foot amount of hose. This shop is 36 feet, so let's take off across the shop, see how far we can go before we run out. Well, that's everything I got. We're at the shop door and I got that much extra. Wish I had a little more, but what I might do is just keep me a hose hung on this wall here and hook it to this. You know, if I need to get out here and pump up tires or whatever. Yes, sir, I think that'll be just fine and dandly. I'm glad to get that because I've been having to put my hose on the floor right there, and that was getting on my nerves. Yes, sir, I think this will be just fine and dandy. Let me wind it up. Let's see how it does. Not bad at all. Well, after searching for about 30 minutes, I finally found my level. I redid my mount there because, you know, it was wanting to swing that way, and that was getting on my nerves. So she stays put wherever I put it now, so that's awesome. Let's go over here and I'll show you the model number on this hose reel. It is NT-A15. I'll put a coupon code right in this area here. I think it's good for 5% off pretty much everything on the website. Remember, this thing holds 50 foot of air hose. That's not bad. I'm pretty pleased with it. I think it'll be all right. Thank you, Vevor.com. If you want that or anything from the website, head on over there and use that coupon code. Now that we got all that done over here on the old milling machine, fixing to ream this hole, I got my thing set up. We need a name for this. A tie rod end bar attachment apparatus thingamabob. That sounds pretty good. Anyway, I got my depth figured out pretty close. I got my black mark right there. That's how deep I'm gonna go. Once we go that deep, we'll stick that tie rod end in there and check it and make sure that we're good. If not, well, we'll go a little deeper. Anyway, let me get to drilling this hole. All right, let me see what that does. All right, let's see what it does. We are nowhere near where we need to be. So I got to go on a little bit more. Now that I got a baseline, I guess you call it, I'm gonna run my thread depth up. We'll take her down. Oh, we'll go 50 thousandths. See what that does. All right, let me check that out. Still ain't quite there. We gotta go a little bit more. Yep, we got probably a 1/4 inch to go. I don't know how in the world I got off on the measurements, but I sure did. All right, let's go 100 thousandths this time. All right, let's check that out. don't think that's enough still. No, sir. Still got a little ways to go. I do believe we got her right there, fellas. Yes, sir. That looks pretty doggone good. Yep. All right, now that we got our depth, let me do this one over here. Hopefully y'all can see that. But that's dang near perfect. Yes, sir. Sure is. So let's get back to the house, put this on, put our tie rod ends on, get everything adjusted. Let's see what we got. We're back at the shop. I'm putting the tie rod ends together. I will have you know that only one of these tie rod ends came with a grease fitting. That right there. I think that's the inner. I don't know. It may be the outer. Anyway, I don't understand why both don't have grease fittings. I don't know. Ain't got a clue. Also, see these adjusters right here? You remember a couple of months ago that truck bed full of partages I got from a handy dandy assistant? That's where they come from. You don't throw stuff away. I'm telling you, you don't throw it away. Anyway, let's get this stuff, put it on the car. There's one. I tell you what, I'm probably gonna have to put a little more spacer in here because the end of this, or the nut, it may rub that boot. We'll just have to see. Also, I kind of thought I was gonna have to do this. I got my tires pretty straight, you know, with a tape measure, and I like probably 1 inch lining up with the hole. These are run all the way in the adjuster. So let me take this back off. Let me get some measurements, and I'll take this back off, and we'll have to cut a little bit off the end of these tie rod ends. I have determined that I need to cut off about 5/8 of an inch off of each one. So let me do that. Yeah, I can't even hardly get the nut on. Matter of fact, I can't get the nut on. Let me turn the wheel. I got a little more room over here. Let's see what that does. Well, let me see if I can get this in there. I'm not going to tighten them up all the way, just snug it up, see what we got. Y'all watch your front tires. Oh yeah, we got us some steering. Yes, we sure enough do. We got an issue though. Let me show y'all what it is. Our tie rod end, which is here, sticks through. It's hitting the rack and pinion right here. It stops. Can't turn it very far to the right because of that. So what I'm gonna have to do, we're gonna have to space this out even more. At least one more width of this, possibly more. That means that's going to have to wait because these bolts right here were the longest I could find in town of this metrical bolt. I'll have to order some online. I had to figure out all my dimensions and whatnot. So we'll have to do that next week. Well, I think that'll do it for this video. I told y'all at the beginning that this was going to be a short video, and it sure is. I was hoping to get to the firewall, get started on it, but we are out of time. Let me say this, I do appreciate all the comments and concerns about my health and being sick. Let me tell you, I'm glad to be over that. Yes, sir, that was terrible. It sure was. Energy level, it ain't all that great. I'm probably up to 75% now. Hopefully next week, though, we'll get a little bit more done. Anyway, appreciate y'all watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you don't mind, hit that like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends. And until next time, go do something. Blurb, blurb.